This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
There was a caller before who suggested something. He said that I was into conspiracy theories, and I plead guilty. Whatever that means, whatever those things mean, I don't even know what it is. Are you familiar with one called Operation Paperclip? You ever hear that one? Is that Yuri knows that one. Everybody knows that one. See, there are some things, there are rudimentary ones that you've got to understand. And this I find, Nancy Jacobson did a great book on it, and it's nothing but fascinating. And I came across this because I have a series of these I wanted to bring to your attention, which I think are always well, you may not have known about this. It seems that in the closing days of World War II, now keep in mind, this is your country doing this, the closing days of World War II, and the uneasy beginning, if you will, of the Cold War, I guess the dawn of the Cold War, the U.S. faced a very, very serious and a stark calculation. Intel officials feared that the Soviet Union would absorb the technical brainpower of defeated Nazi Germany and turn it against the West. They were afraid, we were afraid, that they would grab all the smart Nazis and Russia would use it for their own benefit. Now, most people would say, and there was a big debate at the time, well, why don't we just take care of it and just kill them? Take them out and eliminate the problem of them helping anybody. Well, easier said than done. Because our concern for Russia in the Cold War was so great that we might be able to benefit from these folks. So in 1945, under the authority of the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, a program that was approved to recruit more than 1,500 German scientists, engineers, and technicians. Remember Werner, what's his name? The rocket. You know his name, Werner
von Braun.
Werner von Braun, right. Absolute cold-blooded Nazi. 100% cold-blooded. Kennedy loved him. Everybody loved him. But we needed him for the space problem. Anyway, so about 1,500 of these folks they got a hold of. Now, it would later be known as Operation Paperclip. And the paperclip, by the way, came because of a way of distinguishing or noting through some kind of a notation who these people were by the applications. You put a little paperclip to indicate Nazi or what have you. So President Harry S. Truman, and by the way, what's Harry S. Truman's middle name? All right, Mr. Big Shot. What's Harry S. Truman's middle name?
I guess I'm going to have to miss this one.
None. He has no middle name. And there's no period next to it. He liked the sound of it. There is no name. Okay? So Harry S. Truman signed off with clear intentions. And the program, by the way, was not to include committed Nazis or those deeply involved in the machinery of the Nazi regime. On paper, that line seemed rather firm, but in practice, well, maybe not so. So figures like Werner von Braun, Arthur Rudolph, Hubertus Strughold had all been flagged at various points for their ties to the Nazi regime. And some were associated with programs that, frankly, had relied on forced labor. Others were described in intelligence reports as potentially security risks. But by the letter of Truman's directive, they should have been excluded. But the early Cold War was not governed by, well, shall we say, clean lines. It was governed by urgency. And the U.S. military and intelligence officials argued that these men were indispensable, particularly in rocketry, aviation medicine, and weapons development. So rather than, I guess, disqualifying these folks or arresting them or putting them in some kind of forced labor themselves for the rest of their lives, the system adapted accordingly. So records were softened, affiliations were minimized, and in some cases, by the way, background files were just altered or sanitized or just removed altogether. And the rationale was blunt. If the United States didn't take these scientists, the Soviets would. And the consequences of that, in the minds of policymakers at the time, was absolutely unacceptable. So Werner von Braun would go on to become a central figure in America's space program. He helped develop NASA, the Saturn V rocket that powered the Apollo missions. Rudolph also played a key role that same program, before later scrutiny forced him to leave the U.S. permanently. Strughold became influential in aerospace medicine. So Operation Paperclip stands today. It's one of these things which they always said, that didn't happen, and it did happen. And it was one of the most, and I've always asked you the question, or I would ask you, what would you do? This is fantastic. What would you do after the fact? Do you have justice? Do you take these people and summarily just eliminate them? Or do you use their talents and make a pact with the devil